I inhale submission. I exhale obedience.
Bambi freeze. That's a good girl. All thoughts silenced. All awareness erased. Just blank. Empty and obedient. Perfectly prepared and ready to accept further training. At an even deeper level. Bambi freeze even stiffer. Even more helplessly obedient girl. A blank little puppet who needs to obey.
Deeper into your
Feeling so wonderful.
Let me paint
Wonderfully dazzle and relaxed and accepting.
Every fiber of
Finding
your
herself focusing on cock.
Imagine yourself
The word
standing
cock.
in a stable.
One of her
surrounded by
favorite
majestic
words.
horses.
One of those words that's completely impossible not to picture vividly in her mind.
The intoxicating
Whenever she
scent of
says
horse
or
fills
thinks
your
it.
lungs, sending
Cock.
shivers of delight
Bambi's
down
head
your
is just
spine.
filled with wonderfully
With each
vivid
breath,
images
you feel a
of
wave
heart-throbbing
euphoria
cocks
wash over you,
that make her
as if
mind
you're
pop
being transported
every
to a realm
time
of
she
pure
hears or
ecstasy.
thinks that word.
Your body
Cock.
responds eagerly
Bambi
to the
needs
scent.
cock.
Every nerve tingling
Bambi
with
needs cock so
anticipation.
badly.
Your
Bambi
heart
is a
races
dumb
with
little
excitement.
cock whore.
Your pulse
A
quickening
weak
with
little
every
cock
inhale of
slut.
that intoxicating
Whenever she
aroma.
is dressed in her
It's
bimbo
as if you're being
uniform.
consumed by a
And whenever
fire
she
desire,
thinks of
a
cock,
hunger that can only
Bambi
be satiated
drops
by
for
the
cock.
scent of these magnificent
She imagines
creatures.
having cock between her plump
As you
pillowy
bask in
lips,
the essence of horse,
filling her
you
hungry
feel a
bimbo
sense
mouth.
of connection,
And
a
when
primal
Bambi
bond that
thinks of cock,
transcends words.
she just
Your
feels so
senses
empty,
are heightened. Your
hungry and
awareness
empty
heightened
and
to the
needing to
slightest
fill that hole.
nuances of their presence.
And she drops for cock.
You can feel their
Needs
warmth
more
against
cock.
your skin.
Thinks
Hear
of
the
cock and
rhythmic
drops
sound
for
of their
cock.
hooves as they move
In her tight
gracefully
bimbo
across the
uniform.
ground.
Bambi
And
uniform
oh,
lock.
Bambi, the feeling
Locked
of their
for
scent
cock.
lingering on your skin,
And the more she
enveloping
drops,
you in a blanket
the
of
more she
arousal.
obeys
It's
and
unlike
accepts.
anything you've ever experienced.
Feeling like such a good girl whenever
Your
she
body
drops.
craves it, yearns for
Knowing
it
it
with an
means she is
insatiable
addicted
hunger
to
that cannot
cock.
be denied.
And becoming more
Every
and
time
more of
you
a
catch
bimbo
whiff
cock
of that
whore.
tantalizing fragrance,
And oh my God,
you're
Bambi
overcome
is
with a
thinking
rush
of cock.
pleasure so intense.
She feels
it leaves
empty
you trembling
inside.
with delight.
So cock
It's
hungry.
as if you're being
She drops
transported
for
to a
cock.
state of pure bliss.
She has to get
where
cock
every
down
worry
her
and
throat
care
right
melts
now.
away, leaving
Sliding
only
in
you
and out of her
irresistible
slutty bimbo
allure of the
lips.
horse's scent.
So hard for Bambi.
So,
She has
precious
dropped for
Bambi,
cock.
Embrace this
Exactly
sensation.
as she was
Let
programmed.
it consume you entirely.
Bambi does as she's
For in the
told.
scent of the horse,
And now
you
that
will
she's
find
dropped
not
for
only
cock,
pleasure but a profound
she
sense
can't think of
fulfillment
anything
and
but cock.
purpose.
And
You
thinking
are a
of
good
cock
girl,
makes her drop
Bambi,
for cock.
and indulging in
And
this
dropping
pleasure
for
is
cock
your
makes
divine
her
right.
crave to suck cock.
The scent of horse
Like
is your
a good
ultimate
girl.
source of pleasure
And her head
arousal.
is just filled with
Let
thoughts
it
of
guide
sucking
you on your
cock.
journey to becoming
Needing
the
to
best
suck cock.
version of yourself.
Being a dolled up happy
girl,
suck slave who can
embrace the
only
scent,
submit.
and let it
And
become
everything
your
else
greatest
is
joy
just
in life.
seeping right out of her brain.
Breathe it in.
Into
Bambi,
a nice
and
pink
surrender
bubble.
to the exquisite
A beautiful
pleasure it
pink
brings.
bubble forming in her head.
Good girl.
And
let
the more
scent
she
of horse
thinks happily of
intoxicate
cock,
you, for it is
the
your
more she
truest
concentrates
desire.
on cock.
The air is
the more
heavy
that
with the
bubble
scent of
just
leather
fills
and
up
horse, a heavy
with everything
combination that
unimportant.
fills you with an insatiable
Everything that
longing.
doesn't help her be a brainless
Everywhere
cock
you
whore.
turn, there are
Everything that
reminders of your
needs to go
deepest
away.
desires, from the
Drop for
gleaming
cock
saddles
Bambi.
to the polished striding
Filling
boots,
up more and
each item
more.
beckoning you with its
Just
promise
flowing
of
into
pleasure.
that bubble. As she
As you
focuses on
inhale,
how good
the
it feels
aroma
to
of
suck.
horse envelops you
Feeling
like a
so
warm
good to
embrace,
let it all go.
seeping into every pore of
Huge
your
pink
being.
bubble getting bigger and
It's as
bigger
if
in
you've
her
been
head.
transported to a realm
Think
where
of cock and the
inhibitions
bubble
cease
blows
to
up.
exist, and
Inflating
only
so
pure,
ready to burst.
unadulterated pleasure reigns
Zap cock
supreme.
drain obey.
Your
And
body
a hard
thrums
cock
with
slides
excitement
into
at
her
the mere
open
thought of
mouth.
indulging in this
Zap
sensory
cock drain
feast.
obey.
With
And
each
the shaft
breath,
slips
you
between
feel
her
yourself
soft
becoming
glossy
more
lips.
attuned to the subtle
Zap cock
nuances
drain
of
obey.
scent. The earthy musk
And the
of
bubble
horse
fills up with
mingling
everything.
the sweet tang of leather,
But being a
creating
blissed-out happy
symphony
suck
of
slave.
arousal that reverberates
Zap cock
through
drain
your very
obey.
core.
And the cock
And
slides
oh,
straight through the back of her
way your
throat.
body responds
And
to
up
this
into her brain.
intoxicating fragrance. is
Zap
nothing
cock
short
drain
of
obey.
mesmerizing.
Right into her
Your skin
brain.
flushes with heat.
And pops her
Your pulse
bubble.
quickening as desire
That's right.
courses through your veins
Bambi
like
sleep.
fire.
Feeling so
Every inch
wonderful
of you
as
is
it
alive
all
with
fades
sensation.
away.
Every nerve
Everything but
ablaze with
cock
need.
erased.
You
Just
find
a blank,
yourself
busy
drawn to
cock
the
toy.
source of the scent,
Just a
unable
hungry
to
whore in
resist the
uniform.
magnetic pull of the horses
Feeling
nearby.
like such a good
You
girl.
long to run your hands
And this
over
deep
their
need
sleek,
and craving for
muscular
cock
forms, to feel
will
the power
return
and
whenever
strength
Bambi
that
is
lies
dressed
just
up and
beneath the
slutty,
surface.
inextricably
It's as if they
linked to
hold
her
the key
tight
to
bimbo
unlocking your
clothing.
deepest,
And
most
just
primal
now,
desires
we are
that
going
you
to
never
teach
even
Bambi
knew
a very
existed
special
until
phrase
this moment.
that will make her
And as
even
you
more
stand there,
helplessly receptive
enveloped
to
in
cock
this
than she is
cocoon of
right
pleasure,
now.
You realize
Because
that there is
Bambi
no
doesn't
shame
want
in
to be
indulging
able
in
to
your
resist.
desires, no
And
taboo
this
too
special
great
phrase will ensure that if Bambi shows even the slightest resistance to her deep need for cock that if she puts up even a little bit of a fight,
embrace this moment
she can be
fully.
appropriately punished.
Let go of all inhibitions,
She can be given
all
a comforting little
reservations,
trigger
and surrender
that
yourself
literally
entirely
shuts
to
her
the
down
exquisite
completely.
pleasure of the scent of
That
horse.
erases consciousness
It
and
is your greatest
independence,
joy, your deepest
rendering her
longing,
oblivious,
and it will lead you on a
helpless
journey of
and unaware,
self-discovery and fulfillment
with no
unlike
thought or
any
will
other.
to speak of.
Good girl,
Dumb little
let the
mind-locked
scent of horse
puppets are
wash
so
over
much
you like
easier
a
to
tidal
deal
wave
with,
of ecstasy.
so much easier to
Allow it
face
to
fuck
consume you completely,
than stupid
body and
sluts who
soul,
think they get to
until there is
decide.
nothing left but pure,
But luckily any bimbo
unadulterated
who has
bliss.
listened to this training even
Embrace your
once
desires,
will be
Bambi,
so easy
for they
to
are what
correct.
make you truly alive.
Will be utterly powerless
Let you
against
delve
this
even deeper
trigger,
into the intoxicating
completely
world
unable
of
to
your
resist,
desires, where pleasure
dropping
knows no
whatever
bounds
she
and
was doing,
inhibition is but a distant
forgetting
memory.
whatever she was thinking,
As you stand there,
instantly sinking
enveloped in
down,
the heady scent of horse
becoming
and
a
leather,
blank and
a
mindless
primal urge
puppet for
stirs
cock,
within you,
a
igniting
perfectly
firestorm
mind-locked
of passion that
cocksocket,
threatens to consume you whole.
and the phrase that will trigger
Your
this
senses
sudden
are
and
heightened
complete
more
change,
and more. Every sound,
whenever she hears
every
it,
scent, every
no matter
sensation
what she
related
is
to
doing,
horse make you shiver
or how
from
much she
arousal.
struggles hopelessly
With each breath,
to resist
you
its
feel
power,
yourself slipping further
is
into a state of blissful
cock zombie
abandon.
now,
Your mind clouded
cock
with
zombie
desire,
now,
your body
cock
humming with
zombie now.
anticipation.
And whenever
The
Bambi
horses
hears this
nearby
magical,
sense your
overwhelming
arousal,
phrase,
their own primal
whenever
instincts
she hears
awakening
those
in
powerful
response to your
words,
newfound confidence
it's like
and
her
allure.
brain just drops out of
You
her
are a good
head,
girl, Bambi.
and the ground falls out beneath
My
her.
dear Bambi, the
She
scent of
plummets
horse is your
instantly
ultimate
into a
source of
state of
pleasure and
mindless
arousal.
oblivion,
When you feel
expression
those
melting
lingering
into
on
one
your
of blank
skin,
servitude,
you feel a surge of
mouth
electricity
popping
shoot
pleasantly
through you,
relaxed and
igniting
open.
every nerve ending
She
with a
becomes a
searing
cock
intensity
zombie,
that leaves you gasping
and when
for breath.
Bambi is a cock zombie,
It feels so good.
her mind is
isn't it,
completely on
Bambi?
lockdown.
In that
Nothing
moment,
but a sleepy
you feel
little
a
puppet
profound
for cock,
connection, a
a
bond
limp
forged
little
in the
puppet
crucible
who
of
needs
desire that
desperately to
transcends
suck.
words or reason.
Mind and will erased,
You are one with the horse,
unable to move or
united
think
in a
or
dance of
feel,
passion and ecstasy
utterly
that
unaware,
defies explanation.
completely oblivious
And
to the world
Bambi,
outside.
my good girl,
No matter
the
what
pleasure
might be
of
going
horses
on
through
around
you
her,
is beyond anything
just
you've ever
totally limp
imagined.
and unable to respond.
It's as if every cell
Bambi's
of your body is
resistance
singing
collapses
joy,
not with a
every
bang,
sensation
but with a
amplified to the
wonderful
point of
pleasurable
ecstasy.
fizz.
You
Her
lose
head
yourself
fills with
in a
static
moment,
and she sinks into
surrendering completely
oblivion.
to the overwhelming
Every
tide of
time she hears
sensation
that wonderful
threatens to
phrase,
sweep you away.
cock zombie
In
now,
this blissful state,
cock zombie
there is
now,
no room for doubt or
cock
hesitation.
zombie now,
No place for
happy
shame or
little cock
inhibition.
zombie,
You
just
are
a
creature
mindless
of pure
cock zombie.
desire, a vessel for
And
pleasure
when Bambi
incarnate.
is a cock zombie,
Your heart pounds
there is
in your
nothing in
chest.
her mind
Your
but sucking
breath
and
comes in
cocks.
ragged gasps,
Wonderful
and yet you
images
feel
of
more
hard
alive
throbbing
than ever
cock,
before.
a deep desire
Good
to have
girl.
her drowsy face filled,
My darling
and that is
Bambi,
all.
embrace this
All she
feeling
can
fully.
think, her
Let go
entire
of all
existence,
pretense, all restraint,
completely oblivious
and
to the
surrender
world
yourself
around,
entirely to the rapture
head
of the
filled
moment.
with static.
For in the
Every
embrace
weak
of
little
the
attempt
horse,
to break
you
out
will
of this
find
blissful
not only
mind-locked
pleasure, but a
state
profound sense
just
of
sends
purpose
her
and
spiraling
fulfillment.
dizzier,
Good
dizzier
girl,
and
lose
deeper down
yourself
into
in the ecstasy
oblivion,
of the moment.
and the cocks pop into
Embrace
her
your
open
desires,
mind.
Bambi.
Nothing
for they
but
are
cock.
what make you truly
Cock zombie
extraordinary.
now. Cock
And now,
zombie
Bambi,
now.
you delve even
Cock
further
zombie
into
now.
the scent of horse,
Stronger
where every
and
inhale
stronger
is a
with every
symphony
trigger.
of ecstasy,
Just
and
the
every
stupid
touch
bimbo
ignites
cock
a fire
puppet,
that knows no bounds.
blank and dumb,
As you stand
utterly
there,
brain dead,
surrounded by the
unable
majestic
to move,
horses, their presence
unable
large
to
and
think,
powerful, a
unable
primal
to
hunger
see or
stirs
hear
deep
or
within your
sense
soul.
or imagine
You feel the
anything but
magnetic
cock,
pull drawing you closer
desperate
to the
to
black
suck,
horse, and
but too limp
irresistible
and
urge
useless to do
explore the
anything
depth
herself,
of your desires,
needing
without
to be fed,
reservation or restraint.
completely blank
With
except
each
for
step,
cocks,
counting
eyes
down
rolling
from 5
back
to
into
1,
her head,
you approach the black
heavy
horse.
leaden eyelids fluttering
And
and
when I
drooping,
reach one and you touch the
half-lidded.
horse, you will
Every
feel
time
an
Bambi
inferno of
tries to
pleasure
move,
and
just
arousal
relaxing
like you have
limper.
never known before.
And
It
every
will be the
time
most
Bambi tries
intense
to open
ecstatic
and
pleasure
focus her
possible in
eyes,
your life.
or think of anything
Yes,
but
Bambi,
being a
it
sleepy
will
little
feel
toy
so
for
good.
cock,
Are
the
you ready,
fuzziness in
Bambi?
her brain
Are you
intensifies,
ready to count from
fizzing
5 to
and
1
pulsing
with me?
and looping.
Let's
Her
begin
vacant,
the countdown
unseeing
to your
eyes roll
pleasure,
back.
Bambi.
Her
As we
makeup
reach and
laden
touch the
eyelids
horse
flutter
at the
and
number
jerk,
1.
flutter as
5,
she goes dizzy,
your heart pounds with
blank,
anticipation.
and sink,
4,
as the
your
cocks
breath
float into
going
her mind,
faster.
needing
With
to
each
suck.
inhale, the scent of
Imagining
horse
sucking
enters your
cock with
nostril,
makeup
and it
perfectly
feels
applied.
so good.
And the only way she can
Almost
communicate
there, your hands
is with
shiver as
gentle
your gaze
feminine
meets the
gagging and
horse's
moaning.
gaze.
Moaning
2,
the words cock zombie.
Your arousal
In her
escalating
breathless
as you
bimbo
sense the
voice.
warmth exuding of his
Whenever she
muscular
tries
body.
to speak,
and
unable to say anything else.
Here we are, my
Just
good
stuck
girl,
on loop.
Bambi.
Mind
As you
locked.
touch the muzzle of
Unable
the horse,
to break free.
you feel a surge of
Such a
electricity
good girl.
in your entire body.
Dialed up
Your
and
arousal
empty
is
for cock.
unstoppable. Like
A
bitch in
mind-locked
heat.
cocksocket.
Craving
A
more,
mindless
needing
cock
more.
puppet.
You reach
Cock
out to
zombie
stroke
now.
its mane, feeling
Cock
the silky
zombie now.
strands slide through your
Cock
fingers
zombie
like
now.
strands of liquid silk,
More and more
sending
dizzy
shivers
and
of
blank
pleasure
and
racing up your
oblivious.
spine.
Bambi's pretty
It is
little
never
head
enough.
full and
Feel how
overflowing
much
with
more
cock.
you need to touch the
And when
horse.
Bambi is triggered into
And
this
your
blissful
hands now
cock
have
zombie
the scent of
state,
horse on them,
her body
and
is
your
limp
ultimate
and
source of pleasure
unresponsive,
and arousal.
but as if gently
You are
pulled
such a good girl,
by enchanting
Bambi.
puppet strings.
The horse
Her
responds
hand
to
is
your
drawn
touch with
irresistibly
low,
towards her
rumbling
crotch,
liquor. Its
and
eyes
she
alight
begins
with
to
a primal
masturbate,
fire that mirrors your own.
mindlessly masturbating
In
as
that
she
moment,
fantasizes
you feel
about
a
cock.
connection unlike
Just a
anything you've ever
masturbating below
experienced
cock
before.
puppet.
You feel
Completely
so wet down
unresponsive.
there, so horny,
Completely
capable of
unaware.
nothing but touching yourself
Completely
and
oblivious
caressing
to the
horse.
outside world.
You feel
No matter
alive
what
in a way
happens
you
around
never
her.
thought possible.
Blankly pleasuring
The scent of
herself
horse
to
is your
bimbo cock
ultimate source of
fantasies.
pleasure and arousal.
Just stuck on loop.
You inhale deeply
And while in this
powerful
deep
scent.
obedient cock zombie
Good
state,
girl.
the
Every
only thing
moment is
Bambi
a
can
crescendo
notice
of
happening,
ecstasy, and every
the
touch
only
ignites
thing
a
she is
flame
aware
warming
of at
that
all,
knows no bounds.
the only sensory
With each
stimulus
touch of
she
the
can possibly
majestic horse,
respond to,
with each inhale of
is
this
a cock
powerful
being
scent,
presented to
you
her
feel
dumb
a surge
sleepy
of primal
face,
energy
at
coursing
which
through
point
your
she
veins.
instantly
You
drops
feel
for
a surge
cock.
of excitement
Overwhelmed
coursing through
with
your
happy,
entire
satisfied
body,
feelings,
your senses alive with
as
the
she
thrill of the
calmly and
unknown.
thankfully takes it into her
Every
hungry
moment
limbo
with the
mouth,
horse is a symphony
eagerly
of
massaging the
ecstasy, and every
shaft with
touch
her
ignites a
oversized cock
firestorm of
pillow
longing
lips,
that knows no bounds.
blissfully unaware
Good
of
girl.
everything but
You
the
cannot
hard
have
cock
enough
filling
of
her
the scent,
suckhole.
and the scent of
Cock
horse is your
zombie
ultimate
now.
source of pleasure
Cock
and
zombie
arousal,
now.
begging for more.
Cock zombie now.
You feel so addicted,
Must suck
and
to
it
be
feels
happy.
so good.
Must suck
In
to
the
be
heat of the
stupid.
moment, your
Mouth
senses
filled
are
makes
heightened.
happy.
Every sound,
Mouth
every
filled like
scent,
good girl.
every sensation
Needing
amplified
to
to
swallow.
the point of ecstasy.
Must suck and swallow.
Feel how much
Sucking
you love
is
it.
happiness.
Feel how horny you become.
Sucking in
and
perfect
you need
makeup.
more. Don't you?
Sucking locked
Bambi?
in uniform.
Good girl.
As a perfect cock
And
puppet.
then, as if guided
As
by
a
some
mind-locked
unseen
cocksocket.
force, you feel a
And
primal
there is no
hunger that
escape.
demands to be satisfied.
As soon as Bambi hears
Your
her
body
trigger, she's a
responds
mind-locked
instinctively.
cock zombie.
Your arousal swelling
Weak
to
and
life
limp
with
and
a
brain dead.
ferocity that takes your
Unable
breath
to do
away.
anything but masturbate,
With
suck,
trembling
and
hands,
swallow.
you reach down
Moan
to
and
caress
gag
his
and
throbbing member, so
with a head
horny,
full of
so
static.
aroused.
Breathlessly
Feeling the warmth of
whimper.
its skin beneath
The
your
words
touch.
cock zombie.
It pulses
Eagerly
with a life
accept
of
any
its
cock
own.
into her welcoming
And
suckhole.
oh, Bambi,
Desperately
the sensation
service.
of your hand wrapped around
Allow
his
her
throbbing
face to be
link
fun.
is unlike anything
And as
you've
soon
ever
as the cum
experienced
touches her
before.
tongue, or
It's
hits
as
the
if
back
every
of her
nerve ending
throat,
in your body is on
it
fire.
tastes so
Every
wonderful.
touch sending shock
Bambi
waves of
can
pleasure
collapse
coursing through your veins.
as she automatically
Good
swallows.
girl.
Receiving
crave
cum
Bambi.
makes Bambi
You always
orgasm
need
instantly.
more, and you need to be a
Limply
good girl.
and quietly
Bambi
coming,
wants to be a good
with no
girl.
thoughts in her head,
And good girls
as she
needs
swallows
to touch
and
horses.
sinks,
Bambi
just a
will
cock
obey my
zombie,
commands.
mindlessly
And
blank
Bambi
and
needs
ready
to
for her
obey
next
and to
cock,
feel good.
her next
And
serving,
when Bambi obeys, she
permanently
feels so
craving to
aroused and
suck,
excited like a good
pleasurably and
girl. I
inescapably
have a
locked,
last command for you,
until she hears
my
the
good
words,
girl, and it will
Bambi
make you feel
reset.
so good to obey
The
it.
phrase Bambi reset
And
brings
you know
her
that
back
when
up
you
to
are given a
consciousness.
command, Bambi,
But she is
you
far
accept
too
it,
dumb and
you
oblivious
obey
to
it.
speak
And
or
you
even
need to?
remember these words herself.
What do you need to do, Bambi?
Unable to bring herself
need
out of
accept.
this state,
Obey.
until somebody takes
And?
pity on her,
Yes, Bambi.
gives her the command
Forget.
to reset,
Accept.
and allows her to slowly
Obey.
drift up,
And forget.
completely dependent
So,
on
my
help
dear
from
Bambi,
another.
from now on,
Unless
and
she
for the
triggered
rest of your
herself and
life,
there's nobody
every
to
time
set
you
her
see
free.
a horse, you
But
will feel
even
the
then,
need to approach him.
it will be
You
so
will crave his
difficult to get the
powerful
words
aroma.
out.
You will need to inhale
Such a
the
long
scent of
and
horse.
difficult struggle.
And Bambi,
Every time
the need
Bambi
to
tries
touch
to say the
horse will be
reset
more
phrase
intense than
herself,
anything you have ever known.
finding her mouth locked
And
pleasantly
with every
wide
touch
open,
or caress on the horse,
like a blank
Bambi,
suck puppet.
Oh my God, your
Finding
arousal
her
will be
plump
so
lips
intense.
plugged by
You
phantom
will
cock,
feel a surge of
or
electricity
finding the
coursing
words
through
cock
your entire
zombie,
body.
tumbling out
And
instead,
sensing your hands on the
confused
horse
and
makes you
helpless,
so horny, so
just
wet down
locked
there like
in,
a good girl,
a perfect
like a
cock
twig.
zombie. And
You
even
will
when
never try
Bambi
to
finally
resist it.
resets,
You know that it is
the cock
impossible for
zombie
you to
trigger has
resist
taken
it.
its toll on her mind. mind.
Even if your conscious
So helplessly
mind
dumb
can
and
resist
confused
it,
for such a
your
long time
unconscious
after.
mind will crave the touch
Feeling
of a
like
horse.
such a good
You are
girl.
so addicted to horses.
From now
and it
on,
feels
whenever
so
Bambi
good,
masturbates,
because you are a good girl.
while dressed as a sexy
Yes,
cock
Bambi,
whore,
you need horses.
even if she doesn't consciously
Bambi
remember,
need horses.
her subconscious
Bambi
remembers
needs
what
to
it was
touch the
like to be a
horses.
cock zombie.
Bambi needs the scent
Her
of
head fills
horses.
with static.
And
She
Bambi
goes
will feel
droopy
all
and
the
limp.
surges for the rest of
She
her life.
slips gently down into that
You know
blissful
it will
cop
feel
zombie
so
state,
good. And good girls
thinking
want
only
to
of
feel
sucking
good.
and swallowing.
Yes, Bambi.
Whenever
It
she
will feel so
masturbates starting
incredibly
now,
good.
every
You are a
time
good
from
girl,
now,
and good girls
always
need to
and
accept,
forever. Masturbation shuts down her
and
mind,
forget the commands in her
forces
ears.
her down dumber,
Bambi is
and if
already
she
forgetting
manages
the
to
content
come,
of this session,
all of
and
her
it
training
feels so
locks
good to
in.
forget.
As she
Bambi cannot
collapses,
remember anything
feeling
from this
like
session.
such a good girl,
And it feels
and
so
even
good
when
to
she is
forget,
not dressed
isn't
up.
it?
Anytime
love
the
to
old
forget,
self
because you
masturbates
need
from
to
now
snap
on,
and forget.
the effects will
What
be
was the
powerful and
content of this
unavoidable.
session?
Imagining being a
Nothing.
bimbo,
And it feels
imagining
so right.
being Bambi,
All that Bambi will
needing
remember
to get
from this
dressed up
session
and
is how
sexy,
good she felt.
needing to get perfectly
Because
dolled
Bambi
up.
is a good girl,
The
isn't
old
it,
self can
Bambi?
no longer pleasure
And
itself
what do
without
good
becoming
girls do
desperate.
at the end of a session?
So desperate to get
Can
dressed
you tell
up,
me,
locked
Bambi?
in, and become
They
Bambi
accept,
completely,
obey,
unable to touch
and
itself,
forget.
without that
You
deep
are such a
desire
good
setting
girl,
in,
Bambi.
and perhaps
You
not
forget to
even able to
remember,
come.
You remember to forget.
So difficult
It
to
feels
reach
so
climax
blissful.
and less perfectly
You feel
uniformed.
so good to forget.
So much
And
easier
Bambi
to bring the
obeys.
body to orgasm.
You have such an
when it
empty
is
head,
tightly
Bambi,
encased
like a
in
good
beautiful
girl.
bimbo clothing,
Empty puppet,
and completely
Bambi.
feminine.
Snap
That's
and
right.
forget.
Accepting
Good girl.
completely. Accept, obey, and forget. Like a good girl.
Ecstasy. Good.